Good morning and welcome to this week's Grow. We're so glad that you're all here. This is where we gather to um, reorganize, and work as women of MWIG. All of a sudden, I forgot what Grow stood for. We are so glad that you're with us this morning. We are going to be talking about finding hope through the Hope Experiment, and you may have seen that in the newsletter and on our social media, and as well as on our website in MWIG Central. We've just been posting it there, and you may have some curiosities about it. So we have three women from our Empower groups, three directors from MWIG's Empower group. We have Meredith Gardner, who's our Director of Media Literacy. We have Catherine Esslinger, who is our Director of Civic Engagement, and Lisa Tingy, who is our Director of Principled Citizen. And so they're all going to talk about it. This is kind of their summer project right now, where their job is to get all of us involved and to help us prepare for the upcoming election season. So I'm going to turn the time over to them to explain what it is and give us maybe some ideas of how we can participate as members and how we can invite others to join us. So I'm not sure who wants to go first. Lisa, do you want to go first?
Yes, I'll take it.
Perfect.
Hello, everyone. My name is, as she said, my name is Lisa, and I live in Kansas City, Missouri. And we are really excited about this program. If you've been with us for a while, you have probably seen that every summer we try and do some sort of program that it helps us to connect to our communities in some way. The last year it was Connect. I'm going to say maybe the last 2 years, where there are different activities that you can do that help you to be a good citizen, help you feel like a part of your community. And so this year, we're building off of that. We still have, it's a self-paced summer program that we're doing. We still have a list of activities that we're encouraging you to participate in, kind of a choose your own adventure sort of situation. The inspiration, like in former years, was like a summer reading program to get you inspired to do some of these things. But there's a little bit of a twist this year that you can see in the name. It's called the Hope Experiment. And before you begin, we have you take a little quiz to see where your hope lies right now. And the goal of that is to give you to make you be a little introspective about how you're feeling, and also to help you focus on this one aspect. So Catherine's going to go in and tell you a little bit more why we chose to specifically focus on hope, and she's going to go into the inspiration for this program, and then we'll tell you a little bit more about what it's going to look like. Catherine?
All right. Yeah, I'm mobile today because I just dropped a child off at an activity. So we do a lot of our work in MWIG, of course, is done in a parking lot or in the bleachers at some kind of an activity. So as you know, MWIG's purpose is to help women to become motivated and participating in their communities, building democratic participation and building trust and knowledge. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do this year. And that's the purpose of the Hope Experiment, is helping you to prepare for election season. We know we've each felt that sort of visceral reaction to election when we think about the election upcoming. There's a little bit of maybe some avoidance. We don't want to talk about it. We don't really want to think about it. We don't want to read about it. Since there so much is sort of a repeat of 2020, and a lot happened in 2020 that was complex and painful in relationships and difficult. So that we want to find ways to help women to overcome those challenges and move forward past some of the worries and fears that we have from 2020. We know that we need to be prepared spiritually, emotionally, relationally in our relationships for the election. And that's what we want to do with the Hope Experiment. So we have our list of suggested activities, and we chose those specifically because we feel like they help women and anyone really to build their hope and be prepared for a challenging season ahead. One of the items that I have experience with is like having meaningful conversations with neighbors or friends. Um, Sometimes we stay at that level of small talk, which is not always very satisfying. And we want to encourage you to. Oh, I'm sorry, I just muted myself. To have more to have deeper conversations where we're really sharing from our experience and truly listening. And sometimes I've selected a question that I can just have in my mind. Like one of our questions that we've suggested this year is sort of like, what are you hoping for this summer, or what are you hoping for in the coming year? And say you take a walk with a neighbor, or you're at some kind of a block party or a social event, or you just happen to run into each other in some kind of casual situation at the mailbox or wherever, and you can try to bring those conversations just to a slightly deeper level where you can really get to connect with people. I firmly believe that one-on-one conversation with people is really it we can learn to love and appreciate one another at such a better level when we are able to have those one-on-one conversations, and when we can get past the very basic, how are you, what's going on in your life, to sort of like, what are you thinking and feeling. And so that's where we would one of the suggestions where we would like you to try and see how that makes you feel about your community. How does that make you feel about connecting with your extended family or your neighbors? um, Meredith's going to talk a little bit more about some of the specific activities that we have.
Awesome. Thanks, Catherine. Um, Hold for a second while I open my screen share. Okay. Okay, awesome. So my name is Meredith, and I live in the Austin, Texas area, and I'm super excited to talk to you about the Hope Experiment. You should be able to see my screen. I have it pulled up on our website. So if you go to mweg.org/Hope Experiment, you'll find this cute little website. And the Hope Experiment is all about peacemaking and connecting with community and building our trust. And so I just love this website. At the top, you'll find a link to a short survey. And we would love it if you would just take a moment. It should only take a minute or two to open this survey before you begin. And you just enter your email and you would say, I'm beginning the Hope Experiment. And then it would ask you just a series of questions about how you're feeling about the country and your community. So we would just really love it if you would take that so that we can kind of gauge like how helpful this was to you at the end of it. And hopefully you'll be able to see how it's progressed for yourself as well. And then at the end of the summer, we'll send out a reminder to everyone to do the post survey, and that is also short. And you can see how you're feeling at the end of it, and then also leave your thoughts and give us feedback on this program and whether it was helpful to you. Okay, after you take the survey, you can scroll down and you can see these are suggested activities for the summer, and you can do as many or as few as you would like. We would love it if you would do at least 3, um, but you can do all of them or you can do fewer. Um, Here's some of the suggestions. So one is listening to an episode of the Proclaim Peace podcast, and that is a podcast that MWIG started this year, and it's focused on the Book of Mormon and peacemaking. And we have a link here to episodes and show notes. And this summer, we're also going to be hosting a live episode taping. And so we're really excited about providing that experience to our members. And we'll have more information on that. But I love that podcast. There's some really great episodes with people like Jennifer Finlayson Fife. Lots of really great guests. So I would encourage you to check that out. holding a hopeful history movie night. We have a few recommendations on here: The Post, Selma, Lincoln, Public Enemies, Private Friends, which was formerly called The Abortion Talk. Some of you may have seen it already. I'm like a sponsored several screenings of it. But you can watch one of these recommendations solo or invite your family or your friends. And there's so many other great movies out there. So please feel free to fill in your own movie if there's one you've been wanting to see. Next, we have attending an MWEG summer event. So there's state chapter socials if you have a state chapter. There's weekly grow events like this one. We're going to be hosting all kinds of grows related to the Hope Experiment throughout the summer, related to different topics. And we're hoping to have some guest speakers throughout the summer as well, who will help us um, kind of take a dive into how we can repair and fortify our relationships as we go into the election season. Um, Reading a book about hope and building or building community. We have some recommendations on here. All of these are really great. I'm pretty sure I've read all of them and highly recommend.
Hey, Meredith.
Yeah.
Can I also suggest that if anybody wants to join tonight, and is it tonight and tomorrow? We have this evening and then tomorrow morning, we have the MWIC book club
Yes.
group. It's not exclusive except for our members, but the author is going to be there and the discussion. And so this could be one of the things, maybe even if you haven't read the book, but if you want to join us this evening or tomorrow morning with the author, this would be one of those things that would check that off. And it should be just really a delightful conversation. So I'm just going to plug that.
Thank you for doing that. Yeah, the author is Sam Daly Harris, and the book is Reclaiming Our Democracy. And I just finished listening to that book last week, and it was really great. And so that definitely counts as attending an MWEG summer event if you're able to make it tonight or tomorrow. And it's really amazing. I love that we were able to get the author on to talk about it. So if you can make that, that would be great. You can find the links to that in MWEG Central or I believe in the email newsletter. This suggestion is pretty straightforward about volunteering with a local organization working on an issue you care about. We really think it's important for all of us to do as much as we can to actually get out in the community and form relationships with people. And a really great way to do that is by volunteering. It also helps give us this sense that we can make a difference in our community, because I think that's what leads to a feeling of despair sometimes, is this idea that nothing we do makes a difference. But I think as we get more involved in our communities, we can be reminded of how important our individual efforts are. MWEG devotional. So we have this really great website as part of MWEG called Voices of MWEG, and there's also a peacemaking website specifically. But this is a great devotional that was written by one of our co-executive directors about peacemaking. And so one of our suggestions is to go ahead and read her devotional and think about the peacemaking process she describes in it. And that is a great exercise if you only even have 5 or 10 minutes. It's not very long. Engaging in a meaningful conversation about hope, trust, or community. So this is what Catherine was talking about earlier. We have some conversation starters on here. And as I was mentioning before, we think it's really important, even though we're hesitant, I think, at this time, to start deeper conversations with our neighbors and our loved ones. It's really important for us to try to connect and to get that reminder that we actually all have way more things in common than we have differences. And so these are just some starter questions that are meant to be ideas to kind of get your brain jogging about what could I talk about that's more than just surface level small talk. And then if you want help with engaging in peaceful conversations, we also have attending living room conversations. So living room conversations are moderated conversations about a specific topic. And I know in June they're focusing on hope. And so we have the dates and the times listed on here, and you can register for those in MWEG Central. And they're just a really great opportunity to learn how to speak with people who have different life experiences than you. And I would highly recommend. I've done a couple of them, and they've been really helpful to me. Hosting a gathering with neighbors to build community and connection. So this is something that can be as complicated or as simple as you would like it to be. You could simply pull out a box of popsicles and text some of your neighbors and invite them over. Or you could gather for like a game night or a block party or a cookout, or you could just invite some neighbors to go walking with you. So once again, just trying to build that in-person connection. This is one that is also straightforward that I love. Follow or subscribe to one or two reliable local news sources. So I think it's really important and is really conducive to hope building when we're connected to our local communities. I think as the national news often is what we're more focused on, but we don't have as big of an impact on national issues per se. And so I highly recommend that you find out what local news sources you like the best. If you have social media, follow them, and then try to create a habit of um, checking on those local news sources on a regular basis. And then our last one is something that a lot of you probably do already. Attend a local event or visit a community gathering place. So if you go to the library for your summer reading program, that's great, and that would count for this. If you are planning to attend a parade, or if there's a local festival that's neat that you would like to go to, or historical site that you've been meaning to go see, we would just encourage you to include that in your summer plans. And finally, there is this adorable coloring sheet that our designer Tiffany made. So you can print this out and keep track of all the things that you've done this summer. And we would love it if you would invite friends to participate with you. And this is a great way to invite them, is to print off some of these and give it to them and say, hey, I'm doing this summer. I know, it feels like the environment is really difficult right now, really polarized, and it would be great if you would do this with me. So yeah, let me stop my share. Okay, awesome. So also, we would love it as if you would, as you go through the Hope Experiment, think about posting your experiences on MWEG Central and on social media. And it can be super basic. It doesn't require you to like create a long video or anything like that. If you're out at the library, just click, like, take a picture. Um, if if you are reading a book and you loved it, post a recommendation about it and link it up with the Hope Experiment. We would love to see what you get out of it during the summer. And finally, I know I've been talking for a while, but I want to share one of my experiences with the Hope Experiment so far. So I recently watched a movie for the first time. It's on the recommended list. It's called The Post, and it was made in 2017, and it stars Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep. And Meryl Streep is plays the role of Katharine Graham, who is the publisher of the Washington Post um, from the early 1960s to the early 1990s. And I really loved this movie. I didn't know that much about it before I watched it, because it really features what it's like to be a woman, was like to be a woman in the publishing world, and the guts that it took for this particular person to stand up and reveal government corruption and dishonesty, even though it was at great personal cost to her. And it's given me a lot of hope in that it's helped me to see how relevant to democracy journalism really still is. And it was super motivating to me as I do this work to educate people about media literacy, to keep going and to continue to show people that it is worth investing in quality journalism as we strive to build a lively and a lively and healthy democracy. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Lisa, and she can fill in any gaps that I might have missed and kind of close it up for today.
Thanks, Meredith. I just want to highlight a few things that we hope that you are going to get out of this experiment. As for me, I knew that reading a hopeful book, was one of the things on our list. And so I picked up Humankind, A Hopeful History. And one of the things that I learned in it is that research shows that our negative interactions with people have a much longer lasting effect on us than our positive experiences with those same people. And you can think about your own life, how one really nasty experience with a friend could really sour you to that relationship, even if it's been a positive force in your life for a long time. So for me, that is one reason why this survey for this hope experiment is key. You start out by taking it so that you can see, so that you can, again, tune your mind to looking for these ways that you can see hope in your life, but also so that you can see where you started and where some of these actions can take you. I think when we just go about doing good things, we don't always see the impact that it's having in our life. So that's our hope, that you'll be able to see that these small actions are helping you in some way. We hope that our participants feel encouraged by the stories of other people who participate in this experiment, and that you share also yourself, because we know that hope is contagious. As Meredith talked about, sometimes we see in the media, the newsworthy things are not always the most hope-filled things, and there's reasons for that. But if that's all we're seeing, then it really drags us down. It makes us forget the reality that people are good, and that there is a lot of good happening in the world. And kind of like when when you learn a new word, and then as soon as you learn that new word, you start to see it everywhere. Like, you see people start using it all the time. You're like, what? How is this happening? It's because we're becoming aware of it, right? And that's what we want with this. We want you to start being aware of the many contributions of the people around you that are each adding to this hope that we have, this shared hope. We also hope that you will feel more prepared to be peacemakers in your home and in your community, because we are going to need you this fall. There's going to be a lot of divisive rhetoric, and so we are preparing ourselves and those around us to counteract that. One of the things that one of the reasons that we host a gathering with your community is because that gives you the opportunity to get to know your neighbors, get to know the people that you're actually around. And when you actually know them, when you understand what makes them tick, you assume the best in them, right? You have these good interactions, you assume the best, you're not seeing the worst. Another quote from that book, Humankind, he talked about in South Africa when they were ending apartheid, and he shared a quote from Nelson Mandela: if you talk to a man in a language he understands, you speak to his head. If you talk to a man in his language, you speak to his heart. And we can't speak to people in their language if we don't know who they are, if we don't understand them. So another thing we hope that this experiment brings to you is that it will help you to build trust in your own abilities, not only your peacemaking abilities, but in your ability to discern quality news and good information and share that with other people, again, to help spread that and counteract those things. And we hope that it will help you to feel confident that you can make a difference in your own sphere of influence, no matter what's happening on a national level, but that you can make a difference where you are, where you stand. When we've talked about this program, our co-executive director, Jen Thomas, compared it a little bit to like a gratitude journal, and I really liked that. If you've ever had a gratitude journal for yourself, it really, once you get through every day, you write something you're grateful for, and once you get through those like really typical things, you have to start searching. And when you go searching, you find it. And that's what I hope that you'll get from this Hope experiment. We hope that you will go searching for it. We hope that this list of activities that we've given you gives you a really great start, and that you will start searching for that hope, that as you do these activities, you'll see it, you'll start to feel it grow within you, and that you'll be able to share it with others and pass that along. So that we hope that you'll join on. I wanted to make sure we sent you a little link here. I just sent a link in the chat to the Google form for you to start your experiment. And we will be back throughout the summer to give you updates on how it's going for us. And we really hope to hear how it's going for you. So thanks for joining us.
Oh, I'm excited to get started. Thank you, Catherine and Lisa and Meredith, for explaining it in detail for our members that have joined us and those that are going to watch this later. This actually, as I was thinking about some of the things that I could do, it reminded me last summer we did with our kids, and I just signed up to do it again with the Arizona Faith Network. Each year they prepare some heat relief bags for homeless in Phoenix. And so you just go, you're with people in the Phoenix area, people just come and join, and you pack these bags, and it takes about an hour, and you're serving your community, but you're also doing this interfaith work. And it's really great. It's something I could do with my kids, but it's also a great community building thing, and just makes me feel like I'm doing a little bit of my part for fellow human beings. So I really love it. So you can find things like that in your own communities. I think if you are part, if you go, like Lisa said, if you go searching for things to be grateful for, you will find them. And I just really love that. So that's just one of the things that I plan to do in a week. So I hope you'll join us next week. We are going to talk next week about having meaningful conversations, which is very much part of this Hope experiment. And so I hope you guys will come back next week and join us for that. So we'll see you next time.